Network Entertainment.
I'm glad that they're hopefully bringing it back to Roman, which is the entire point of this whole thing anyway. The Rock doesn't even interfere if it's not for Roman. So I hope that the next 2 weeks na lang, finally get the exchanges that focus on Cody and Roman, because what else are we watching really? I mean, LA Knight was right. Wrestling was cool 6 or 7 months before The Rock came back. So it's all right. It's all good.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov. This is Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are now listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. And this is the second half of our live stream episodes for the week. This half, we're talking about WWE and everything that happened on Raw this week. So check that out. Here we go now. Right, let's cross over to WWE. We got quite a bit to talk about from Raw. First, Cody has a comeback for Rock's concert, which is okay sana yun. And then he tried to cut the promo. But, he really put on his big boy pants. He talked some shit, said a few PG-13 words to The Rock. Called him an asshole, called him a bitch, called him Roman's side chick, said he had a small dick. Kung ano pa. It was good. I enjoyed it. I see quite a bit of people hating it back on the internet, but I thought that was a pretty nice response from Cody. What did you guys think of this? Was it the perfect or was it a good comeback? Not a perfect comeback, but a good one. Gino, what do you think?
Medyo weird siya sa akin. I'll be honest. It was weird for me. I get that he was trying to be serious, pero ang effect sa akin nun, it's like a kid using cuss words for the first time, shit ka! When you hear the word shit, even naman when you first heard a cuss word, you didn't really know what it meant, so you just threw it out there, and that's what it struck me as. I know that Cody is always, hindi naman siya clean cut, diba? Neck tat nga siya. But for some reason, ganun yung effect niya sa akin because he's always been packaged as a good guy, as a guy who always did the right thing. Yeah. And yes, I guess appropriate yung response given the level of aggression that's happened in this match. But I also feel like because of this rivalry, it takes away stuff from the larger picture of Cody finishing his story. Diba? It's now focused on Cody versus The Rock, which we were never going to get anyway. Diba? We were never going to get Cody versus The Rock. The Rock, Roman Reigns always had to be involved. And now for some reason, si Roman na yung nagiging side chick. Diba si Roman na yung parang nakisali lang when originally Roman was the center of attention here and good old Dwayne was just dropped in there. So yun lang yung issue ko dito sa focus na to.
I think they're gonna address it naman on this episode of SmackDown.
Kasi Roman na nagano kasi they weaved in Paul Heyman. Okay.
Oh, they will have a one-on-one on SmackDown. Like no members of the bloodline allowed in the building. So I feel like they will redirect that on SmackDown, which is why I'm like, okay, I'm giving them a break about it. The response is okay kasi they went tit for tat eh. Like yung parang he just matched the same energy na Rock put out nung SmackDown on Friday. So those words were needed to combat because Rock is known for using the same words. So parang Cody, copied from the Rock's playbook, pero he twisted it and put in a little bit of Cody flavor in there, and it worked. Like I liked it. I liked the promo. He didn't have to cry this time. He was just he was just aggressive, which is I like. We're this close to WrestleMania, so you should be getting hype, should be getting more angrier at the Bloodline as we go on here.
I didn't think he matched the energy. I thought he had better energy. Kasi puro kakengko yan lang naman yung ginagawa ni Rock, diba? I mean, I'm over that high school juvenile sophomore shit. Like I've heard it before, and it's fun to hear. It's funny, yes. It's funny in the moment, but it doesn't really add much to the story overall. Kasi it's there to serve as the pop people who want that easy brainless material, diba? Honestly, like it's so easy to poke fun at Stardust. Also easy to call Cody a mistake, diba? To say that to go after his mom, diba? That's low hanging fruit, diba? So the fact that Cody went for the jugular, to me, Cody went for the jugular and cooked Rock kasi parang he took aim at the fact that he couldn't stay out. He couldn't stay out of all of this, and he was using the entire thing to stay relevant. Diba? So I thought that was much more effective, and I thought that really read Rock like a book. Kaya mas nagustuhan ko yung promo ni Cody. So I'm glad that they're hopefully bringing it back to Roman, which is the entire point of this whole thing anyway. Diba? The Rock doesn't even interfere if it's not for Roman. So I hope that the next 2 weeks na lang, we finally get the exchanges that focus on the Cody and Roman, because what else are we watching really? I mean, LA Knight was right. Wrestling was cool 6 or 7 months before The Rock came back. So it's all right. It's all good. Yeah, Glendale. The Rock is the jock bully. I've seen that. I've worked with people like that before, and you quickly get over it because it's funny once, a couple of times, and then they're not. After a while, they're not really adding much to the story because they're just playing it for laughs. So yeah. Next, we have a development in the Intercontinental Championship picture. One, Chad Gable is serious now. Medyo sad boy na siya. He's traded the Alpha Academy tank tops for a suit. He is now really somber and morose and solemn. And then he just straight up cooked Sammy and said that he couldn't beat Gunther. So what are we looking for here? What are we expecting to see here? What do you guys think? Chino, what are you looking for? What are you anticipating?
I think in as much as I would want to see Sammy beat Gunther, I don't think it's for him. Like sinabi din namin ni Emil to stream that I think that's still Chad Gable's match to lose. Diba? It's still gonna end up Gable versus Gunther kasi dalawang beses na sila nag-face. And dalawang beses na din siya inupakan. So, wrestling logic dictates that third time's a charm. For Sammy, I think it's just them crediting him and his hard work and all the time that he's put in, diba? Give the guy a WrestleMania spot, why don't you? He deserves it, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think, kahit convincing yung promo na binigay ni Sami Zayn against Gunther, I don't think this feud is the feud that ends Gunther's reign. I think, if anything, it does more for Sammy losing kasi nga bibigyan na naman siya ng bagong angle, bagong change in character than for him winning against Gunther, which frankly I don't think people want to see as much as Chad Gable winning the Intercontinental Championship.
Pero may inaabangan ba tayong twist? Like, is there a twist coming? Because I can't read it right now.
I don't know. I actually don't know if there is a twist.
I love how Chad Gable suddenly got into Sami Zayn's head. I love that how
Sami Zayn got into his head.
Okay.
He's wearing suits now.
No, but I know their conversation, and then after like diba, Sammy was, hey, it was an honor to have that match last week and all. Tapos, after that moment, after Chad Gable prinangka siya, tapos sinabi sa kanya na, you can't beat Gunter, Sammy wasn't the same. He, like, in the promo, I love that they addressed it on commentary na after that 5-way promo, is he convincing everyone or is he convincing himself? And they planted seeds of doubt for Sammy na am I gonna believe this guy when he told me that I can't beat Gunter? Kasi may gravitas yung sinabi ni Chad Gable because he has been there. He has faced Gunter twice and he can't beat him. So so it's one of those things na storytelling wise, I'm glad that they actually are making an effort there. In terms of a twist, my mind immediately went to Chad Gable turning heel and joining Imperium at WrestleMania, but that's kind of far off
Okay.
from.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because
wait lang.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I wanted to ask this next question. So when Chad Gable lost to Sami Zayn last week in the Gauntlet match, people were cheering him hard. And then people were kind of booing, or people are upset online with Sammy kasi siya yung nanalo ulit. And then we're repeating WrestleMania last year, diba? So if people are cheering for Chad Gable and are rooting for him, why is the play for him to be a dick? Diba? Why is it that he is the guy doing his own Drew McIntyre turn of, kailangan ko manalo so magiging kupal na ako, diba? So what do you guys think of this? Because to me, it feels like Triple H is so good right now at building babyface stars, that now he's the victim. He's suffering from his own success, and people like Chad Gable are suffering from from his success. Na nagiging parang kailangan maging heel sila kasi not everyone can be an underdog babyface here. So, what do you guys think of that? Like, why is Chad Gable the guy being a dick here to Sammy?
It's interesting na ganyan. Yeah, gets ko. Yeah, it's interesting that's how you read it. Kasi for me, I think it's just them trying to give Gable an even bigger chip on the shoulder. Tulad yung sinabi ni Emil, diba? I don't know where he was going, but it's right. He's right. Natalo siya eh. Diba? So now he has even more to prove. Not just to Gunther, but also to Sami Zayn. Diba? Kasi he knows na kaya niya si Sami Zayn. He lost, yes, that gauntlet match. Pero alam niya kaya niya si Sami Zayn. Just like he knows that he can beat Gunther. Diba? So now he's like even hungrier now, even itchier now. Diba? Yung urge niya na lumalabas na as pagkakupal, yes, pagkagago, but then at the same time, he's just trying to be really the guy to get back on top, diba? And I think that's the arc we're going for here. Now, it's not necessarily a heel turn, but more of giving him an edge that he never quite had. Hindi na siya yung wholesome Mr. America professor coach type guy. They're just trying to add a little bit more flavor, a little bit more spice to somebody like Chad Gable.
I've seen this shit so many times in Triple H booking. Na the underdog babyface needed that extra edge before he can rise to the top and win the championship. I've seen that with Gargano. I've seen that with with Sami Zayn even. So hindi nakataka-taka na Triple H went this route. But the thing is, Chad Gable is already one of your best baby faces in the company. So parang there was no, because people are gonna root for him anyway, no matter what. You just have to put him in a position where he would succeed, and people are gonna get behind him. So I know what they're doing here, but they could have done the other. They could have gone the other way, and it would still be as good, if not even better than what they're doing now.
It's admittedly too early to say because it's really like the first week after people have been, pulling for Chad Gable. So I'm honestly jumping the gun here, but I hope that they don't sacrifice yung goofy side in Chad Gable. Like I feel like they're doing another Bailey and then they're doing another Drew. But the Drew thing is we already have a Drew, and what Drew did was recent. So super obsessed with becoming champion that he becomes an asshole. Diba? I don't want that to happen to Chad because that's what it looks like is going to happen. But again, it's one of those things that we will have to let play out kasi maaga pa. It's just that I feel like Triple H has been juggling a bit on how he's had so many stars that he can't always push, diba? He can't always push. So I just hope that he knows what he's doing, because a lot of people have been cheering. They cheered Sammy last year. They gave him the tag team championship when he wanted the Uwu championship, and then now I hope that yung end. Well, I mean, a lot of people are hoping that the end game for Chad Gable is the Intercontinental Championship. So I would like to see how Triple H jukes this particular situation, because it's not cut and dry talaga. Right, we have one more topic left in the WWE conversation, but before that, let's take a quick break and hear from our fellow podcast on the Pod Network.
Magandang araw para sa mga mas nakakalurky na storya,
mas masayang kwentuhan,
mas nakakautot sa kaligayahan na chismisan,
mga kaabang-abang na storya.
Aba, tutok na lagi sa Tambalan Podcast.
Right, before we end the show, one last point from Raw. Emil's favorite, Jimmy and Jay, have confronted each other on Raw, to the chagrin of Adam Pearce. And Jimmy said that it was Jay's idea to leave the Bloodline. And he's blaming it all on Jay. And apparently he had nothing to do with it, even though he was the one who pretty much set off the events that would see the Usos leave the Bloodline in the first place. Jay didn't want to do it. If you all remember how it happened. So a lot of weird things happening here, and it's one of those things that you do have to also let it play out. Pero it's strange. So Emil has feelings about this. Talk your shit.
I've been complaining about this ever since Jimmy turned on Jay. Like, it didn't make sense then. It doesn't make sense now. They didn't explain. The fact that they haven't explained why Jimmy all of a sudden returned to the Bloodline, that fact itself, parang something was off na talaga for me. So I feel like parang they just put these different pieces in place just so they could get the Usos matchup at WrestleMania. But honestly, if it was up to me, I would move this match for another time, because I don't think the dynamics is there yet for a compelling brother versus brother storyline. Kasi first of all, they're on different brands. And nang-epan lang naman si Jimmy pag may title match si Jay, which again, you gotta build up on that. You can't just do that and then sabak na, feud na agad tayo. Kasi again, I understand long-term storytelling and all, but medyo nakalito din talaga tong story na to. Like the inconsistency of Jimmy's character in booking makes me less interested in him, thus making me less interested in actually seeing them fight. Kasi yung momentum nila is night and day. Jay is having this terrific run. When he got to Raw, he became a tag team champion, main evented a pay-per-view. He's consistently consistently on Raw every week, while Jimmy is back to playing the second fiddle in the Bloodline, and parang paiba-iba Walang consistency yung character niya. Minsan you could see some seeds there of Roman not liking him, and then some other time he's gonna help Roman win it just sucks, because the brother versus brother thing has so much potential, because andun yung draw. It's brother versus brother, but if you look closely into it, this seemed like rushed, this whole thing, and we're only 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. So I think I can say it now. They just Carlo is right. There's no explanation. They just effed it up and roll with it, because it's WrestleMania season, and they've been saying that they want to face each other at WrestleMania. So again, they could have done it right, pero wala, nandito na tayo and they just roll with it. And because of that, I'm not that interested in this match, and I'm just more confused and pissed at Jimmy Uso than before. So that's my feelings about it.
Yeah. No, gets. Chino, what do you think, Chino?
Okay. I think it yes, bakit nga yung characterization ni Jimmy Uso up to this point. And yes, he could have done it better. But I think, honestly, sa haba ng Bloodline storyline, I'm just glad that they're wrapping one of the threads up nicely at WrestleMania. Diba? Because this whole thing is like a 3-year saga almost. Na parang sa haba nitong story na to, na nag-start pa nung nag-champion si Roman Reigns and matatapos 3 years later. I'm just glad that it's ending. It's coming to a head. They could have done it. They could have done it earlier. They should have done it earlier, in fact. But they wanted the WrestleMania spot. The brother. I saw this stat online that said every 15 years nagkakaroon ng brother versus brother matchups. And it is kind of tracked. So yes, I guess this is our generation's version of that. Right? So I guess it kind of tracks. But yeah, they definitely could have done it better. But I mean, it's there. It's there. And I'm just glad that it's ending after 3 long years of the same shit. Diba? Na pinahaba lang nila ng pinahaba. Right? Also, I think ultimately si Solo Sikoa is also going to play a part in this because he is a brother also. So it's to me, yun yung inaabangan ko, yun yung twist na tinitignan ko what role he has in this feud.
Yun nga, like the 3-year thing, it started off really well, diba? They have told this wonderful story. That's why a few months ago I compared this whole thing to, the series finale of How I Met Your Mother. And I'm still comparing it to that now. The entire season 9 of How I Met Your Mother is like this whole last 5 months of this whole Jimmy versus Jay saga. Say they really fumbled it. They could have had something special in there, but here we are now. But again, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen nonetheless. And people are gravitated towards that brother versus brother thing.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is I agree that they should have explained why Jimmy turned on Jay properly. And then why he went back to the bloodline. Yun ang hinihintay ko explanation. Kasi Jimmy gaslighting Jay and all of that. I can still that's like say it's a heel saying heelish things, diba? You can still have a heel do irrational things in the name of villainy, diba? Ganun naman ang mga kontrabida, diba? Mga kung ano-ano sinasabi nila, kung ano-ano isip nila, diba? But I needed an explanation from Jimmy to Roman, diba? Kasi Roman just accepted him back, and I wanted to know why he turned his back on the thing that he started, diba? So yun ang kulang sa akin, and that's why I agree that this has been a quite heatless story, because they spent a whole bunch of time over the past couple of months focusing the bloodline against Cody, that they forgot that they wanted to do Jimmy and Jay. So super sayang, because it will be a great match between the twins, but it's the story to get there is not really good. So it sucks. I wanted them to do this really well, but we're not getting a good story out of it. Right, that's it for our wrestling talk this week on the live stream. But before we get out of here, fellas, let's get your plugs in. Emil, you got anything?
Naman, just follow us on all our social media accounts. And Wrestling Fans in Naga, I think Caffeinate and Sir Miko Garcia of Comedy Olagon is cooking up something for WrestleMania. So pag may official na, I'll also plug it here on the pod. So just stay tuned for that.
Right. Chino, what you got?
Yeah, so a few things. I started vlogging over the weekend, so I'm coming out with my first vlog, which covers the first year anniversary of an open mic I run at Cinema 76 Cafe in Quezon City. So that's dropping tomorrow. Mabilis lang siya. Pwede niyong panoorin na hindi kayo himatayin. And also, I am coming up with Last Town Podcast has a new episode tomorrow, coming out with comedian and former banker Judd Gregorio. So that's coming out tomorrow on all your podcast aggregators. Also, just please follow everything I do, linktr.ee/Chino Supersize.
All right. As for me, DexCon is happening again this weekend, Saturday, meet and greet Wrestle Bazaar at Unbox Green Hills. Meron pang tickets for the event at the venue, limited lang. So if you've been meaning to go to the meet and greet, you're gonna meet myself, Main Max, the Calamari Drunken Kings, Masa Takanashi, and Chris Brooks, OPM, Jake De Leon, and David Ravenna, and all the other stars that are featured on the show. It's gonna be 12 p.m. onwards at Unbox Green Hills. Tapos on Sunday, 6 p.m., it's going to be the main WrestleStorm show. We're going to have our title match against TZK, SJM, and Ken Cypher, who will also be at the event. Sorry, I forgot to mention them. Hindi naman sasadya. But yun, tickets, I believe, are still available at dexcon.helixpay.ph. The venue is going to be at Brawl Pit Bulusan in Banawe, around Banawe, Quezon City. So go check that out, guys, please. If you are looking for some international flavor, our first show of the year, it's going to be a lot of fun. As for Kasaysayan, tickets are already sold out, unfortunately. So if you were not able to get your ticket for NWF Kasaysayan 2024, too bad, y'all. You're going to have to wait for it on RJ Rock of Manila. All right, that's it for the Wrestling Podcast live stream this week. Please follow us if you want to talk more about what we talked about the ganaps of the week, whether we talked about it here on the stream or not. It's at Wrestling2X Pod on Twitter and TikTok, at Wrestling Podcast on Instagram and Threads, and the Wrestling Podcast here on Facebook. My co-hosts are at Chino Supersize, that's here on the video, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, NITE for Rowan ASH, at _Stan C for Stan, at Ro is War for myself on Twitter, and at Shang.Daddy on Instagram and Threads and TikTok. All right. Again, thank you so much to our wonderful management team. Babyface manager, Jasper Manyalang, working us behind the scenes, and the rest of the boys and girls on the Pod Network. Thank you so much for making us sound better than we are, and for keeping the podcast going after all these years. We're celebrating our 10th year in a couple of weeks. Wala pang ganap for our anniversary celebration because things have been so busy with the viewing party. So we hope to see you there, guys. Tickets are still available. Early bird at tinyurl.com/WrestleMania40PH. We'll see you guys there, whether it's at Hobby Stadium or at Skinny Mike Sports Bar in BGC. This has been the Wrestling Podcast. For my co-host, I'm Romoran. Please stay safe, stay dry, stay warm, stay healthy. Don't be a dick, guys. Wrestling Podcast out. Later, Outcast. Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.